Hi everyone, I wanted to talk to you today about custom audiences because they are a crucial part of your Facebook ad success. Now, for those of you that don't know, they form the retargeting component of the Facebook ads funnel. So they are when you're retargeting your warm and hot leads with your ads. Now, let's take a few steps back for those people that don't know what custom audiences are. Custom audiences are anyone that has interacted with your brand in some way, shape, or form across your personal sources or your Facebook and Instagram sources. So I'm actually going to take you through how to set up your custom audiences post Apple iOS 14 update, because we do have to make adjustments for that change. Now, before I get started, can I ask that you hit the subscribe button and the like button if you want to see more of these kind of tutorials, and thank you in advance. So let's get into it. So let's head to the audiences section in your Facebook Ads Manager. Now, when you get there, you hit create a custom audience. So just to reiterate, your custom audiences are anybody that has interacted with your brand in the past. So as you can see, your custom sources can be broken down into your personal sources and your Facebook sources. So your personal sources include sources that exist off the social media platforms, and your Facebook sources are the sources that exist on the platform. So as you can see, your personal sources have things like your website, your app activity, your customer email list, and some other offline activity. Now, before the iOS 14 update, we would build our retargeting custom audiences around our website visitors and app if you have an app, but that's a lot less people that do, and our customer and email list. So we knew that if people had taken the step from leaving the Facebook or Instagram platform and coming across to one of our personal platforms like our website, or subscribing to our email list, or buying something and landing on our customer list, we could be assured that they were very interested in our brand. So they were definitely our warmest and hottest leads, and we'd most likely see conversions through those people. Now, with the iOS 14 update, what's happened is our visibility over who's coming to our website has decreased dramatically for anyone that's turned those settings for tracking off. So what that means is our ability to retarget anyone that's turned those off is now gone. So we can only retarget those people that we can track through the Facebook pixel. So what we're going to have to do is beef up those lists. So the customer and email list sizes won't change because we have the email addresses. Facebook actually has no control, and Apple has no control over those numbers. But when it comes to the website visitors, that number has definitely dropped. So because that formed the bulk before the iOS update of the people that we could target, and now we don't have control over it, we actually have to beef up that size of that audience pool. And the way that we do that is by introducing Facebook sources into that actual pool size. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of different sources that we can choose from, and I'm going to go through them. But the ones that I go through and take you through in a bit more detail are the ones that I believe will give you the best bang for your buck when it comes to Facebook ads and seeing leads and conversions. So let's start with your website visitors. So just click on website. If we were to create a custom audience for people that have visited your website, we would go and tick website. And then you would come in here. Now you'd have to have the Facebook pixel installed to target and track your Facebook pixel audience. So as you can see, this one's not installed. This is my demo account. If it was, that would be green. Now you can get much more specific with who you target. I'm going to keep this really broad. Now, if you're a small business, we want to increase our audience pool size. So I recommend keeping everything extremely broad. It's only when you become like a lot bigger business and you have a lot more people coming to your website that you want to get more specific with who you're targeting. Otherwise, those numbers are going to be extremely low and you won't see conversions. Now, you can rest assured that Facebook knows who will do exactly what you want them to do and who will take what action you want them to take based on your campaign objective in the pool that you offer them. So give them the opportunity to be able to find the best person with the biggest list possible. So let's go. So with your website, I'd keep it on all website visitors, and I'd actually up the retention to 180 days. which is the maximum amount of time you can choose for website visitors. We want to keep it as big and broad as possible, and that's the biggest that we can do. You can also include and exclude people. Like sometimes we exclude people that have bought in the past week, but I won't go into that in this particular tutorial. This is how I would set it up for most businesses. And then I would just call it website visitors, something called, use a naming convention that's super obvious. So website visitors past 180 days. See how obvious it is when you're going to pull it in, what that audience would be. So next up, I would then go and create my customer and email list. So you could either join them or do them separately. Sorry. So if you're connected or you use MailChimp, you can actually integrate the two platforms. If you don't, you'll just have to upload a list. So there's a whole bunch of different things that you can link. And how you would do that is, firstly, you have to tell Facebook whether you're going to import a value. So that would be how much money somebody may have spent in their last purchase or overall purchases. This is great for finding your highest value customers if you only wanted to advertise to them, but we're going to keep it really broad. So I'm going to say no and just import emails. And you just have to tick the bottom that says you agreed with the marketing permissions and the privacy. So it's really important that you have permission to advertise to the people in your region. And there's very strong privacy laws around who you can advertise to. So it's really important that you know, and that you also have a privacy policy on your website and you do the research for your region. So as you can see, you would just upload a list here and you would call it email list. And I would use the date. So you might say the 3rd of September, September 21. I'm not going to say one in this instance, but as you can see, that's what you would do. So that would be your second list. So just to reiterate, your customer and email lists are going to be your highest converting lists or customer audiences along with your website visitors. And then we get into your personal sources. Now you could also tackle app activity if you have an app, but most people don't. So I would be looking at adding a lead form. So if you've done any lead form Facebook ads, I would definitely be adding those. I'd probably assume that you've already added them to your email list anyway. So, but if you haven't, make sure that you add those, because anyone that's filled out a form and downloaded something or made the effort to actually give you their email address, they would be a much warmer lead than somebody who hasn't. The next up, I would choose video. So let's go into there. So then you get to choose how long you want the audience to have interacted with your brand. So you have to use a bit of common sense. So basically here we're targeting anyone that's watched one of our videos across our Facebook or Instagram platforms. So I say if the video is really long, so say if you had a 5-minute video or 10-minute video, you're not going to say that they had to have watched 95%, because the likelihood of someone doing that is quite low. You may, if you had a big pool of audience and it was really important for some specific reason, but it'd be pretty rare. If the video was quite long, I'd probably go for about a 25% mark. But if the video was quite short, say 2 minutes, you could go for something perhaps a little bit higher, like 50%. So you just have to use your common sense whether the video is long or short and what you think would be a reasonable amount. But I'd be looking at a minimum of about 25%. So let's just click that. Then you would have to go ahead and choose your videos. So this account wouldn't have any videos because it's a demo account, but then you would just go and click and choose the videos that you'd like. And then you'd hit confirm. And then the videos, sorry, I'll just go back into that just to show you. Then the videos would come up here, and I would keep the retention at 365 days and name that audience video views. Past 365 days. And then you'd have your video views. Next up, I would look at doing your Facebook. So anyone that's interacted with your Facebook at some point. Now, I would choose again, everyone who's engaged with your page. Now you can go through and you'll see there's a whole bunch of different options that get more specific. So you could say people who have liked your page or followed anyone who's visited your page, people who have engaged with any post. Now, if you're a big brand with a lot of followers and interactors, you could get more specific. But in this case, most of you are most likely small to medium businesses that are following along. So I would be looking at everyone who engaged with the page, and again, just call it something super simple like Facebook engagement past 365 days. And then just hit create audience. You can also create your lookalikes here, but I won't be doing that in this particular tutorial. And then let's just go back in and create our final one, which is our Instagram account. And again, I would just be picking everyone who engaged with this professional account. So this is, as I said, there's a whole bunch of different options that you can choose and get more specific with, just like in Facebook. But because we want to beef up our audience and make it as big as possible, because that list has diminished dramatically, I would keep it really broad and say anyone who's engaged with this professional account, keep the retention at 365 days, and just call it Instagram engagement. Past 365 days. And there you have it. So now that we've created all of our audiences, we want to go into our actual ads campaign and create an ad. Well, I'll show you the structure at least. What I'm going to do when we go into here is I want to show you how you would actually put that into a campaign. So historically, we used to create an entirely separate retargeting campaign. But now we're focusing more on getting people into our actual email list because, I mean, that was always important. But now it's become even more important that we're doing post iOS 14. So generally when I'm creating ads, I will have about 5 different ad sets. So you start with your campaign up the top, you've got your ad set level and then all your ads underneath. Now I would have, say, 4 interest-based or maybe 3 interest and 1 lookalike audience groups, and then I would duplicate this and actually nestle my retargeting ad set within the campaign that's for my cold audience too. So let's just put in our existing campaign, or actually I can just put original as well, it doesn't really matter. And what I would do is I just call this retargeting. So here you're advertising to your interest-based audiences that are your cold audiences, and this is where we advertise to our retargeting. Now, all you do is you go down to your custom audiences section, you click here, and there you have it. All your custom audiences will come up. So just click those, and it's fine to put them all into the same ad set. So historically, we used to separate them out and test them all out separately, but now we generally group them all together because we know the pool is a lot smaller. And Facebook, again, is really good at finding the people within our audience that will take the action that we want them to take based on our campaign objective. For example, if we want people to buy, we choose the campaign conversion objective. And Facebook would therefore go into this big pool of people within our retargeting list and look at who is most likely to buy and send the ads to them first. So as always, test your campaign. So test. If some of the audiences aren't working, like if your Facebook audience isn't really performing, then take it out. If your Instagram audience isn't performing, then remove it. We always have to test everything we do. There is no one way for doing anything for any business, regardless of the industry. So I would say test everything for your audience and yeah, act accordingly. So remember, increase your audience pool size as much as possible using those sources that I mentioned for your retargeting, and that should definitely help you get your conversions over the line. Now, I hope that's helped. If you want some more tutorials like this, please do follow along and hit the subscribe button below and like this post. And I hope you found this helpful. See you soon.